Hello, everyone. My name is Emily Johannes. I'm the Senior Manager for Sustainable Sourcing at Nestle. I support our US based food and beverage companies. Nestle is the world's largest food and beverage company, and dairy has been important to our business since our founding in 1866. Nestle brings the love of dairy to consumers' kitchens with cherished brands like Nesquik, Stouffer's, and Carnation Evaporated Milk. In fact, milk is our company's most utilized raw ingredient, which is why the dairy industry is so important to Nestle's sustainability journey. Today, I'll walk you through that journey and some of the commitments at Nestle that we have made to achieving a more sustainable future. In December of 2020, Nestle published our Net Zero Roadmap. This is our path to regeneration for future generations. There are a couple of things I want to point out to you on this slide. First and foremost, we will achieve by 2050 a net zero carbon emissions outcome. But we can't wait until 2050 to get there. We have to set some interim targets along the way. That's why by 2025, we have committed to reducing our carbon emissions by 20%. And by 2030, we'll go even further to reduce our carbon emissions by 50%. And we're going to do this through ambitious targets over the next 5 to 10 years to scale up regenerative agriculture, work within our supply chains to be more efficient, work within our own operations to reduce our reliance on energy, and end deforestation across our supply chains. I'll walk you through a little bit about what our commitment means and some of the actions that we're taking. But first, I need to talk to you about our end-to-end sustainability vision. So we can't just work within our own four walls. While it's very important to us to take our own actions within our own factories, we also have to work upstream and downstream with our value chain partners to make sustainability outcomes a reality. That means working with our suppliers all the way back to the dairy farm or agricultural farm, and then all the way to the customers and consumers where we sell our products. So it's with this vision in mind as to how we have developed how we will achieve these commitments over time. And there are two ways we're going to do this. The first is what we call a carbon neutrality strategy. Several of our brands have committed to becoming carbon neutral by a certain time frame. And this means that they will reduce some carbon emissions within their supply chains as well as within their own operations and offset for any of the additional emissions that might be occurring. Ultimately, over time, our net zero target is the focus, and those carbon neutral brands will keep working to reduce their emissions to ultimately hit zero. For our corporate net zero target, we cannot have any offsetting. We actually have to make those reductions within our own operation and our own supply chains by 2050. So how are we going to do that? And I wanted to start with dairy and our commitment to the net zero initiative. We were the first corporate partner in October of 2020 to join the Innovation Center for US Dairy on a journey to achieving net zero at the farm level. And this is because we believe that dairy is an ingredient that our consumers love, but it does have some climate impacts. And most of that footprint is happening at the dairy farm. In fact, dairy products make up the majority of the emissions that are created from sourcing the ingredients for our products. That's why we're working with the Innovation Center through 4 work streams, ultimately to achieve dairy net zero outcomes at the farm level, called Dairy Scale for Good. You can see on this schematic here how that will happen across the areas of cow care and efficiency, better feed production and practice changes, renewable energy use and on-farm energy efficiency, and manure handling and nutrient management. And we do believe it's the collaboration of all these actions, as well as optimizing the nutrition for the cow, that will be so critical to achieving net zero. We'll also work to collectively make impact across watersheds with multiple farmers implementing any one of these solutions at the farm level, as well as help spur innovative research to take us even further. And ultimately, this is going to create lower carbon dairy foods for our consumers to love. Beyond dairy and our global ingredients, we have to work on things like deforestation, land use change, and community and labor impacts. While in the US, a lot of our cocoa is certified through a third party and through our Nestle Cocoa Plan, we're taking global actions such as 100% Roundtable for Sustainable Palm Oil certification by 2023, and also sourcing 100% of our cocoa and coffee globally under our sustainable sourcing plans by 2025. We're also very focused on reforestation and ending land use change and deforestation in these supply chains by 2022. Moving into our packaging, it's not just about our ingredients, but also our packaging. While a good portion of our packaging is already recyclable or reusable, our commitment is 100% by 2025. And we're designing our packaging to meet that need. We're also reducing our reliance on oil-based plastics and increasing the access our consumers have to the recycling infrastructure that is necessary in order for our packaging to actually be recycled. Because the ultimate goal for us is not just to design our packaging to be recyclable or reusable, but to actually achieve it, which means we'll have none of our packaging in the environment. Within our own manufacturing operations, we've already achieved zero waste to landfill at all our US factories in 2020. But as the largest food and beverage company in the world, we know our manufacturing has a significant footprint. So we're building upon our existing track record and going even further. We're going to increase our use of renewable energy to 100% by 2025. We'll also reduce the actual energy consumption we use at our plants, continue our focus on stewardship of water at our factories, and continue our zero waste to landfill focus. Going even beyond that, the communities and with the people that we serve, we're expanding our plant-based portfolio options that reduce environmental impacts, including plant-based proteins, but also working on animal welfare within our supply chains, because we believe both animals and plant-based options are our future. So we're committed to achieving better chicken welfare outcomes by 2024. We're also committed to increasing supplier diversity throughout our value chain by 2025. Like I talked about earlier in the presentation, we do have brands that are moving towards carbon neutrality over the next few years. So in parallel with our net zero pledge by 2050, several brands are actually going to achieve carbon neutrality between 2022 and 2025. With that, I want to thank you for having me at your conference and look forward to the discussion. Thank you.